room. This is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
Sophie Cunningham collapses near the rim, grabbing her right knee after Bria Hartley loses her balance and tumbles into Sophie's lower leg. For a full beat, the arena goes quiet. The kind of silence that makes every shoe squeak feel too loud. And then confusion rolls into anger when there is no whistle. Trainers sprint across the floor while teammates motion for a stoppage that never comes. And fans who have watched a season full of hard contact start flooding timelines with clips and freeze frames and slow-motion replays. It looks ugly, it sounds worse, and it hits a team already missing 3 true point guards right where it hurts most. Indiana huddles, heads down, eyes up, trying to stabilize in the chaos while the broadcast booth reminds everyone that Sophie will have an MRI to determine the damage. The subtext is obvious. You can stew or you can survive. In that moment, they choose survival. They strip the plan to essentials, reassign touches.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hold three-pointer. Bottom! 7 on the shot clock, 25 seconds in regulation.
They gotta get to the rim.
Charles has to hoist and connects. Wow. The Indiana Fever prove their resilience.
And tell each other exactly what they need to hear. Stay connected, stay composed, stay alive long enough to make the fourth quarter matter. Tonight will not be a story about blame. It'll be about backbone. It will be about a team deciding to be hard to kill, even when the basketball gods are not listening. It'll be about a star who starts quiet, then flips the game like a switch. How do you win on the road with no true point guards and your toughest space are gone before halftime? The Fever show up with a playbook built for available bodies, not ideal theory. Caitlin Clark remains out with a mid-July groin injury that is dragged into August. Sydney Colson is sidelined for the year with an ACL tear. And Ari McDonald is still recovering from a broken foot that takes timing, lift, and confidence with it. That leaves Stephanie White with wings who can dribble, bigs who can pass, and a small menu of actions designed to be repeated without mental overload.
After Phoenix, it was a quick turnaround to figure out, how we're going to play without, Ari and Sid. And now we got to figure out how we're going to play without Soph. And we've got to figure out, who can play in certain roles. What are our substitution patterns going to be? What kind of wrinkles can we throw out there? It doesn't get easier. And I think we come back and have Minnesota twice, right? So it's really good mentally, physically, and emotionally for us. And then it gives us practice time, which we're going to need.
Simplify the reads, widen the spacing, and make sure every possession ends with a person who can handle contact at the rim or pressure at the line. It is not how coaches want to play in late-season games when most contenders are polishing wrinkles for the postseason. It is how you survive a week when the depth chart looks like a receipt after the coupons hit. The staff's job is part tactics and part triage, balancing energy, matchups, and foul risk while keeping legs fresh for the last 6 minutes. On paper, it's a recipe for a controlled loss. On the court, it becomes a ladder. Every clean catch, every simple kickout, every screen set with purpose is a rung. Climb enough rungs and you buy time for someone to punch through. Then the rotation takes another hit that should have ended the night outright.
We got Sophie Cunningham writhing around in pain, definitely hurt, and Sophie's one tough cookie. If Sophie's kicking and screaming like this, no Will Farrell. She's in pain. We even have Connecticut Sun players. Look at that. Connecticut Sun players, Connecticut Sun training staff coming up to her as the Fever starts making their way down.
Midway through the second quarter, as bodies stack under the glass, Hartley stumbles forward and her weight rides down into Sophie's planted leg. It's one of those plays you only need to see once to understand, because the human response lands before the analysis. Sophie's hands fly to her knee. The sound she makes cuts through the broadcast, and teammates wave for help while the ball bounces away. No foul, no signal, no stoppage. The frustration in the building turns into a point of focus for everyone in blue and yellow. They are already thin, already improvising, already begging their offense to breathe without a traditional organizer. Now the best spacer and one of the toughest tone setters is gone. There are games that break you and games that harden you. This could be either. The easy way out is to chase contact back with wild possessions, throw the ball into crowds, and lose the thread. Is this a one-off accident or the newest chapter in a season-long pattern?
Every day in our huddle, that's what we say together. And it's just more than words for us. I think when you see things happening, there's no other way. If you spread apart, the season goes down quicker than anything else. And we talk about with the injuries, people are probably expecting us to just fold, just like you said, and that's not us. We come in the locker room and we're motivated. We continue to be motivated every single time we step on that floor. At halftime, we're motivated, chip away, and that's our mindset. And just continue to uplift people. When one person goes down, we say it all the time, the next woman stands up. And that's really just been our motto and been what we've had to do a lot this season, and that's what we're just going to continue to do.
Context is a character in every story, and this one has a long resume. Fans remember the eye poke on Caitlin Clark back in June that sparked arguments about hand discipline. They remembered a hard foul that flattened her and rewrote a fourth quarter. They remember the groin shot on July 15 that turned a hot stretch into a layoff. When people who care about the league stack those moments next to Sophie's fall, they do not see isolated collisions. They see a cluster around the same crest. Some voices call it reckless. Others call it the cost of physical basketball. The debate is real, but it cannot win the game. In the huddle, the staff strips the noise away and returns to first principles. Body to body on the glass. No live ball turnovers. One more pass to the open shooter. Defensively, stay down on fakes. Challenge without gifting free points, and make sure Connecticut's rhythm comes odd. And family voices enter the conversation, and the fire jumps a level.
How does she magically lower her shoulder into Sophie Cunningham's legs? Can somebody please explain that to me? Can somebody please explain those physics? Again, don't want to hear it, because this is a dirty player.
When a collision looks that bad, families do what families do. Sophie's sister, Lindsay, tags the league with a direct appeal, arguing that Hunton player quotes about officiating is the wrong priority if you can't protect the athletes themselves. Her mother, Paula, posts and then deletes a sharper line about Hartley playing out of control. Whether you agree or disagree, the impact is obvious. It turns a dangerous moment into a broader discussion about standards, consistency, and the cost of letting borderline contact pile up. In the comment sections, people argue intent, timing, and the physics of a body stumbling into a planted knee. In the locker room, the staff is rubbing legs, taping ankles, and choosing matchups. Indiana cannot litigate while the clock is running. They can control the next screen, the next tag, the next box out, the next closeout with two high hands. Inside the huddle, a single word keeps surfacing, and it changes everything.
Do you have an update on Sophie? Yeah. Yeah, MRI tomorrow.
Sorry, just quickly on something. I mean, what's going through your mind when you see her down like that, and you're jogging over there?
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, especially the way that she fell, and how she was holding herself, and how much pain she was in. At the time, it's like crap, and then you go down there and you see her, and it's like, okay, just want her to calm down and be able to regroup.
Resilience is not a speech. It's a set of small choices repeated when you least want to make them. Stephanie White later admits her first reaction to Sophie's pain was a raw, holy S, the honest shock of a coach who cares. The second reaction is the one that counts. Calm her down, recenter the bench, reframe the night. The Fever are not going to win this with perfect choreography. They're going to win it with great habits repeated at speed. That means early offense before the Suns' length sets, back cuts when help stares, and screening angles that make defenders chase instead of stand. It means trusting Odyssey Sims to break pressure, even though she's on a hardship deal. It means letting Aaliyah Boston be a hub, not just a finisher, and empowering wings to make the extra pass even if they miss the last open look. The message is simple. Keep the game in front of you. That someone wakes up after halftime and sets the court on fire.
Scary moment as we went to commercial. Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room. Should be.
Halftime stats say 4 points. The eyes say something else. Kelsey Mitchell's footwork is on time. A pull-up looks pure. And her shoulders are getting square earlier in the shot clock. She opens the third by hunting the elbow, then bounces out to punish a lazy under with a clean 3. The sun tri-length at the point of attack. She drags him through a screen and stacks a foul. They hedge and jump. She splits and gets to the dotted line for a soft floater. Once a Tatum settles, everything simplifies to teammates. They know where to show, when to space, and how to time the cut behind the ball watcher. Possessions start stacking like bricks. You do not feel the wall going up until the score peaks around the corner. When the run comes, it looks inevitable, but it's built on dozens of small advantages Kelsey keeps creating. The math gets wild. The record book opens, and the fourth quarter becomes her stage.
Bria Hartley deserves 0 benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control. Looked out of control to me. Maybe you should focus her sister. Maybe you should focus less on finding players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham come out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the locker room.
By the time the horn sounds, Kelsey has dropped 38. The split is vicious. 34 of those points arrive after halftime, including 10 in overtime, when nerves go loud and legs go heavy. She goes 11 of 22 from the field, 5 of 8 beyond the arc, and 11 of 12 at the stripe, adding 6 assists to make sure this is not just gunning, but guidance. More than volume, it's timing. Step-back jumpers when the defense needs a stop. Back-to-back threes that pull a deficit inside one possession. Calm free throws after contact that would make most guards bail out. Somewhere inside the run, a franchise milestone clicks into place. This is her 11th career 30-point game, passing Tamika Catchings for the most in Fever history. And the conversation about most valuable player stops being polite and starts being present tense. From afar, Caitlin Clark sees the clips and posts 2 words that say enough. MVP Kels. No star wins alone. And Indiana's stage crew delivered at championship levels.
Kelsey, your second half, you get 34 of your points just now.
Damn!
The last after halftime, what took over you? How did you get it done on the floor?
I think it was more about what we did from a standpoint of like the mindset and the mentality. From half to half, it sucked for me. First half, it just wasn't, and I think that it wasn't as well for our group, but the resiliency is true in our room. Seeing Soph go down and then knowing what happened with Sid and knowing what happened with Ari, and then knowing what happened with Cece, it's like, I think a lot of it was just God and being able to like stay prepared and stay in your mental state to be able to compete. But I really think that that's the most resilient that we've ever been because of everything we've been through. So I think a lot of it you just tap into your team and you just love on your team. And I think, great things can happen.
Odyssey Sims arrives on a hardship deal and looks like a veteran who has run these sets for months. 19 points. 7 assists in 1,000 small moments where she refuses to let pressure turn into panic. Break the press, hit the pocket, keep the ball ahead of the trap, and make the extra push dribble that turns a contested 2 into a layup or a foul. Aaliyah Boston writes a box score for coaches. 14 points, 13 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and a freight train of screens that spring guards free. It is also her 15th double-double of the season, a new franchise record that says as much about stamina and decision-making as it does about touch. When she seals deep, defenders foul. When she plays high, cutters eat. Around them, roll clarity becomes force. Natasha Howard bangs out 18 and 9, moving bodies off the glass, punishing high hips. Now add the one shot everyone will remember and the stops that made it matter.
I don't even think there are any words. I mean, when you look at Kelsey's play and you look at what she means to the squad, I mean, coming out that second half and going off the way that she did, I think it kind of speaks for her case in general. She comes out, she defends, she scores the ball, she plays 40 minutes a game, and it's just like, and she still consistently puts up these numbers. I feel like if she's not MVP, shoot.
MVP is crazy. I don't even think I thought about that.
That's cool.
Overtime breathes differently. Every possession's a referendum on poise. With 44.9 seconds left, Indiana swings it side to side. The defense chases, and Lexie Hull slides into daylight in the corner. Catch, set, rise, bottom. Her 8 points barely wiggle the stat sheet. But that shot slams the door. Long before that, Brianna Turner earns a quiet game ball from the staff. Second half switches with clean feet. Timely contests that become air balls. Rotations that erase dump-offs and turn layups into kit-outs with the clock leaking is the kind of defense you only notice if you watch the tape twice, but it tilts the shape of the fourth and the rhythm of overtime. Put it all together, and the Sun are forced to beat you with counters they don't prefer, while Kelsey keeps pulling clean looks out of small advantages. When the horn finally goes, you can point to a single highlight, but the truth is bigger. All of which leads to the only question that matters in August.
Boston backs down Hartley. Aaliyah Boston, excellent post position. Picks up the dribble. Shot clock winding down to 7. Mabry, lob pass. Charles catches. No foul call. That's a huge no call. Looks for cutters. Charles the defense. Back on to Boston. Tina Charles. Backdoor Mitchell pouncing in the paint for 2. 30 points for Mitchell.
Scoreboard first. Indiana 99, Connecticut 93 in overtime after trailing by 21. That is the largest comeback in franchise history, and it does not happen without the balance of fury and focus that defined the second half. The record hits 19 wins and 16 losses. The playoff chase stays real, and the locker room finds a language it can use next week, next month, and next year. The narrative is not wait until Clark comes back. The narrative is we can bend without breaking, we can simplify without shrinking, and we can ask our role players to carry A-level responsibilities without losing ourselves. You need those truths in late season games when legs get heavy and scouting reports get sharp. You also need belief strong enough to survive a night that should have been a gut punch. That belief is a habit now. Close it right and pull your community into the story you are writing together.
AB, point forward. And like, look, you can't underestimate what it means to have somebody like her who just does whatever we ask, right? Does whatever, I mean, everybody really. Lex, that was a huge toss your activity all and that's what it's gonna take. Okay, that's what it's gonna take. We gotta play free. We gotta play with no pressure, but we fight. Live that resilience every day, and we will accomplish what we want to accomplish. Okay, come on.
Yeah. Here we go. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Together.
If you ride with Sophie Cunningham, drop speedy recovery, Sophie, in the comments so the locker room sees it. Respect to Kelsey Mitchell for a cold-blooded masterpiece, and to Sims, Boston, Hull, Howard, and Turner for winning the margins that never trend but always decide. What is your take on the officiating standard when collisions stack up like this? Accidental versus reckless. And where should the league draw the line to protect playmakers without softening the game we love? Add your thoughts below and tell me which possession you want broken down in the next film room. Friend, if this breakdown hit for you, tap subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss when resilience becomes a scoreboard. Big study next, and we'll track whether the Fever can replicate this grit against Minnesota with rotations in flux. Bring your questions, bring your receipts, and let's build the next win, one detail at a time.